being an artist or a creative of any kind and running a business is, I would argue, one of the hardest things, because as you all know, as creatives, our brains tend to run more on maker time versus manager time. Now, if you're familiar with this, makers tend to need bigger chunks of time and managers tend to work in small chunks of time. And so, there's a lot of lessons to be learned in figuring out how to be both a maker and a manager in running your own business. And so since today is my birthday and I'm 44 years old, I thought I'd share some of the biggest lessons that I've learned from being a creative business owner and hope that you're able to glean something from these. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Stop the Starving Artist podcast. I've taken a handful of weeks off here, I think 3 or 4 weeks, and I just want to say thank you for being here. Birthdays are weird. Do you guys get this? I feel kind of melancholy on these days. So it may show up a little bit in my video, but I want to be very upfront about it. It's there's a lot of reflection that ends up happening. There's a lot of questioning, and I've been in a kind of a weird state of questioning, and I'll end up talking about some of that within the context of these lessons here. But, that's the byproduct of being your own boss, is that there's no one to answer to but yourself. And that's a blessing and a curse. And so, I just want to say thanks for being here. I really, really mean it. Those of you that are watching, that are commenting, that are, paying attention and actually not just watching, but doing the work, y'all are just the best. I just can't say thank you enough for being a part of this. Inside of our community, we have seen our artists make, as of today, $315,865. If you don't know, my mission for 2025 is to see our community make $1 million in art sales. Now, that's a lot. That's a whole lot, and I'm still committed to that vision. But I looked at this number and in my reflection time, and I'll be quite honest, I felt behind. I felt like, well, we should be doing more. Why aren't we doing more? Despite the fact that it's a smaller community. And I started to do some research, and what I came to is that at this number right now, before we even hit the end of the year, this is more revenue than 60% of all galleries worldwide. Meaning 60% of galleries throughout the entire world will never see this much revenue made for their artists. And 9 times out of 10, the gallery itself would have to make double this for that much money to then go into the pockets of the artists, right? And so I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful, I'm so excited about what's next just by looking at this number. And this is why, numbers tell a really cool story when we look at them the right way. But to those of you that are in my Heart-Based Sales Accelerator, I just want to remind you of the work that you're doing. And even if it doesn't feel like a lot right now, it is a lot, and it compounds over time. That's the way all business works, and we'll talk more about that. So let's jump into these lessons that I've learned here. So the biggest lessons I've learned as a creative business owner. Number one, and this is in no particular order, your business grows you. I've never done anything in my life that has enhanced me more as a human being. When I think about having to run a business or rather getting to, checking my language, getting to run a business and serve people the way that I get to do here, it grows me because all of my own fears and BS come up, and I have to acknowledge those. I have to learn how to get past them. And the flip side to this is, and this is something a coach said to me, is it actually grows, your business will actually grow as you grow. And that has also been true. As I've grown as a person, I am capable of handling more in this business, in any business that I've had. And subsequently, I can see that, from being a touring musician to doing production work to, starting to do stuff within YouTube, whatever. It's like I had to expand as a human being for the amount of revenue that I could make to also expand. And that's a really fascinating concept that I did not understand when I started this journey. And it's really, really interesting. So just remember that sometimes it's working on your business and sometimes it's working on you. So whatever you're going through right now in your business, just remember, like, it might be hard and it might not be what you want, but it might exist to teach you a lesson, like in a good way. Not like, I'm gonna teach you a lesson, boy. Not like that kind of thing. Like, it's there to tell you something in where you can expand so that your business can expand. So I love this as a concept. Number 2, business structure is only half. The heart structure is the other half. Business structure is only half. The heart structure is the other half. What do I mean by this? Every business needs structure. We're going to talk a little more about that in some of these other points. But if you don't have a structure for your business, if you don't have a plan that you execute, if you don't have something that lets you know that you're doing the things that need to get done in your business, you will be busy and not be productive. Period. End of story. You will be busy and not be productive. On the flip side of that, though, if you have all the structures in place, but your heart structure isn't there, meaning you don't feel pulled by what you're doing, you don't see the business as something that is growing you, that is serving other people, then this won't matter, because you're just going to end up getting burned out and frustrated and be over it before it even, gets anywhere. And I tragically see this a lot with artists. I'm in a group with a bunch of entrepreneurs, and I see this with entrepreneurs of all kinds, is that the heart structure isn't there. We've been talking a lot in my community about this idea of authenticity. And what is authenticity? Well, authenticity is when you show up and you speak truth and you actually believe in the truth, right? Meaning, if I show up and I tell you, like, I'm here to serve you, I believe that what I have to offer you is really helpful. If I say that, it may be true, but if I don't believe in it, then it won't feel authentic. I have to actually believe it for you to also receive it. And so that's what I mean. We have to have both the structure of the business and the structure of our heart for it to work together. And that's something that I'm sort of having to restructure the heart side of my business right now, as it's now gotten to a place where I'm no longer having to do a lot of new creation. I'm actually finally in a season of taking a lot of the information that I've built and figuring out ways to honestly say it over and over again, but in different ways. Because it's not about always teaching new information. A lot of times people just need to be reminded until it clicks. You know what I mean? And as a creative, that's really challenging for me because I'm a maker at heart. I want to constantly be making new stuff. So I'm rethinking the heart structure of my business to figure out what that looks like so that I'm driven by the thing that is the vision for what I want to do alongside you all. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a little esoteric, I know. Okay. The third thing, you have to surround yourself with people that are ahead of you. You have to surround yourself with people that are ahead of you. Doesn't mean that you need to be in their presence all the time, but the more that you can see what's possible, the more likely you are to succeed. And the more that you can see evidence of the types of people that you want to be like, doing what you want to do, the more evidence that you have of that, the better. So I see a lot of artists say things like, business is so slimy and so salesy and all this stuff. I'm like, who are you surrounding yourself with? Because I'm so fortunate to be in a group of entrepreneurs that I meet with live a few times a year. We do calls. It's like all the time. And they're the most heart-centered, service-led people I've ever met. And many of them make way more money than I could ever imagine. But knowing that it's possible and seeing that they are the types of people that they are proves to me that it can be done and that I can do it. And so it's really, really important to surround yourself with these people that pull you by a vision of what you're capable of. Because if you can't start to see business in a new way, in a way that feels doable and exciting, it's going to be really challenging. You know what I mean? And I hate that for any of you, because I want to see you succeed, because I know you actually want to succeed. I know you actually want to see this happen, right? Okay. Number 4, obligation is a breeding ground for resentment. My coach, Ellen Browen, said this to me. It's been years ago now. It's still every day I hear this in my brain somehow. And I don't know if I'll ever stop saying this. What does this mean? This is why I teach the way I teach. My goal is to help lead you to an answer and then give you the structure to use your voice, right? Like, that's my goal. A lot of people, when they teach business or they teach marketing, they teach it like all you need is this structure. Remember what I just said? You need the structure and the heart, right? So what I want to do is coach you through finding your heart structure, finding your vision for what you want to see, for what you want to say, for how you want to say it to people. Because once you have that in place, you're going to be much more excited. Because if I just told you, go do A, B, and C, now you're going to feel a sense of obligation. And as soon as you feel a sense of obligation, you're going to feel a sense of resentment. And as soon as you feel a sense of resentment, you feel resistance. And when there is resistance, you end up in this place of like not actually wanting to do. This is where we see people go into fight, flight, or freeze, right? We have to regulate our nervous system so that we feel more excited about doing the thing. Sometimes we need to like have a little push. To be honest, because I've taken a few weeks off, I had to promise to one of my accountability groups that I'd pay each of them $50 if I didn't get a video out by today. Because once you take a couple of weeks off, sometimes you just like, I'm good, you know what I mean? But I got to get back in the game. And so I said, I'll pay you $50 each if I don't do this. And so is there a little resentment to it? There's a little bit, but I know on the other side what's there, right? I have the heart-centered stuff in place enough to understand that once I get to the other side of publishing this video, I'm gonna be reminded like why I do this in the first place. So obligation is a breeding ground for resentment. So beware of obligation. Ask yourself, how can I make this fun again? Why am I doing this? How can I fall in love with the process? I mean, these are cliche questions, but it's so true. You know, they're cliche for a reason. So number, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The simpler your business is, the more money you'll make and the less time you'll spend. I forget who described business this way. I want to say that it was the founder of what used to be ConvertKit, but it's now just called Kit, which is an email service provider. And he talked about not just business, but creation of something in general, like a flywheel. Now, I'm not super familiar with flywheels, but what I do know is that it takes a whole lot of effort to get it started. You're going to spend a lot of energy to get it going. And so imagine knowing that even with a simple business, you're going to spend a lot of energy in the beginning to get it going. But then still stacking on all of these things that don't really matter. This is why I say all the time, there's only really 2 things you need to be focusing on in your art business, which is getting in front of more people and making them more offers. If you just do those 2 things, you're going to be good. Now, are there things under that? Sure, but Like how much simpler, how much more open, how much more exciting does it feel to say that's my only priority is those two things. It's not having my website perfect. It's not making sure that, this hook is right on point. It's not whatever, right? It's like, no, today, did I do something that got me in front of more people? And did I do something that made an offer to someone? Pretty simple, right? And so that allows you, as you're pushing the flywheel to get it going, the more resistance that exists in the beginning, it starts to go away. It starts to dissipate as you get momentum. And then what starts to happen is you can kind of just you could even keep the flywheel going with just one finger. And this is what I talked about in my own business, that now I'm in a place of not having to build a bunch of stuff anymore. The creative in me freaks out and goes, oh my gosh, it's too simple right now. I want to be making a bunch of stuff. I got to be rebuilding it from the ground up, right? No. That's the antithesis of what we want. Now it's all that time and energy that I wanted in the beginning is what I built this for, so that I could have more creative time to do the things that I want to do that may not be there to make me money, to do the things that I want to do with my kids and my wife and family, right? And do I want to continue to grow the business and impact thousands and thousands of artists? Absolutely. I'll say it here. There's a part of me that wants to be the biggest in my space, the biggest that talks about art and business. Why? Because I believe with every part of me that I care so deeply about helping you all that it would be a disservice for me to not have that type of vision. And so I know that the simpler that my business, and I believe this for you too, can be, the more money it will make and the less time it will take. Because think about it this way too. Let's say, you start getting more and more orders. Well, what can happen when you have more money coming in? You can start to delegate things. Like packing, literally you can pay somebody to do all the packing and shipping for you. You know what I mean? You don't like dealing with emails? You can pay somebody to take care of the emails for you. Sometimes we neglect to see the possibility of what your business could be. And sometimes we're just bad at relinquishing control, if I can say it that way. I was, I have an assistant now, Emily, and she's amazing. And her job is to take care of you all. So if you all email me, you're going to get her. And she'll make sure if it's dire that it goes to me. But why do I do that? Not because I don't want to communicate with you all, but because I get emails every single day asking me all kinds of questions or all kinds of stuff where it's I can't find the link to this, And as a maker, my job, remember we talked about the maker and the manager schedule? As being in the maker portion of the business, meaning my job is to make the best stuff like this for you all, the best stuff I can for the clients that are in my community, right? And if I'm constantly having to answer emails and deal with all that, it takes me away. My brain goes, oh, I have to be I'm even thinking about, I did make a mistake of answering an email today. I shouldn't have. And I'm thinking about the fact that I had to draw a very specific boundary with this person because they didn't seem to understand how my business works, right? And that sucks. I hate being that person. I hate being someone who has to put my foot down and say, no, this is how I operate, and you're either for me or you're against me, and that's fine, But that's what we all have to do as business owners. And so before today and me kind of getting ahead of myself, when I let Emily take care of those things, I can be in a maker headspace, and it helps. So, simpler it all is, the more the better, right? Less time spent. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, the next one. Money isn't the goal. It is the means that gets you to the goal. Money isn't the goal. It is the means that gets you to the goal. I want you to make more money. I really do. I think every artist deserves to make more money than they do. And I think every artist has the capability. If you're already making money from your art, I believe you have the capability to make more because you've done the hardest part. You've sold it. You've gotten people to purchase it. So that is the hardest part. So I believe you can make more. But the money is not the goal. It is the means to the goal. So what do you want? Like this is a great exercise. What do you want money to do for you? And if you want me to talk more about money and like money mindset and stuff, I'm going through some of that with my personal coach as well. And I'd be happy to do a series of videos on, what I'm learning, what I'm thinking about. I think the way we think about money is really, really important if we're going to be business owners, especially, when you think that artists have been so corrupted when it comes to what money is. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, but like think about the movies that you watch. Who are the artists, right? Well, the artists are the people that are always poor, always struggling, and then think about who are the villains. It's always the rich business owners. So it's no wonder we have this feeling that like rich people suck and it's better to be a martyr and make no money. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. We need more good people to have money, right? Like why do we feel this way? So but money is not the goal, it is the means to your goal. So map out, what do you want money to bring you in your life? And use that as part of your vision. So for me, again, it's like, I want to pay off all my debt. I want to have people that are helping me that I love working with. I want to have more trips and experiences with my kids. I was very fortunate to tour the world, as a musician, but that got me to those places. And now I want to do that with my family. I want to be able to go and experience things with them, right? So these are the things that I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about making money. So hopefully that helps. 2 more here. You must know that what you sell is serving someone, and you have to show up to serve. You have to know that your art is serving someone. You have to know that deep down in you. And this is this doesn't happen overnight. But a lot of people, you hear business owners say, well, the thing you make has to solve a problem. And then artists will say, well, my art doesn't solve a problem. It does solve a problem. It does, y'all. You just don't see it yet. You just don't see it yet. But when you think about if you followed any of my stuff, think about the way that I talk about what your role is as an artist. Your role as an artist is to help people see the world differently, right? Maybe to help them see themselves differently. Maybe you don't know how to articulate that yet. That's fine. Like, no problem. This is all part of the process. But if that's your role, then that's freaking valuable. And imagine that you, as the artist, are showing up, presenting that message, whatever that message is of yours, and saying, I am here because I want more people to understand that they are not bound by the anxiety that they have within them. That when they get in touch with nature and the things that God has given us, we have something more that can come out that is meant to be explored. When you start diving into these kinds of messages, and that's the thing that you're speaking, that's the thing you're putting out into the world, what shifts? That is solving a problem, because every time they see your work, every time they see your content, every time they see you, they are being reminded of the potential, of the possibility. You are changing the way they think about the world. You solve a problem. Now, if the problem you're solving is I just want to make art for me, yeah, that's a problem I'm not going to buy into. I'm sorry. I wish that was the case, but it's just not the case. This is why I'm adamantly against videos that are turning around my art until someone likes me. It's that, how? That's not something that we want to do. I don't know. It's how, why? I'm not saying we shouldn't love one another just because of who you are, right? But I don't know, that we don't operate that way as people. You understand what I'm saying, right? So you have to know that what you sell is serving someone, and you got to show up to serve. Marketing really is just serving. People talk about bringing value. I can do a video on value. I have a lot of really cool stuff to say about that. But what is value? Value is just really what we talked about. It's like, how are you helping someone see something differently? That's value, right? And so when you bring that value, you show up to serve, then the last thing happens here, which is probably my favorite of these, which is when you show up to serve, there's something that's called the sacred law of reciprocity. And I heard this from my coach this week, and it was such a good reminder that every time, like think about nature, there's give and there's take. There's always give and take, right? And so this idea of the sacred law of reciprocity is that when you give to someone, you have the opportunity to also take from them. They will give back to you, right? And if you think of money as a token of appreciation or an exchange of energy, right? What a cool thing to think about. It's like, hey, listen, Martha, you've given me all this value. You've shown me these things. You've made me think about these things in a way that is so different from what anybody else does. I want your art because I want to be reminded of that. I want your art because that's what it stands for, and that's what I stand for. Here, take this money, right? So when you make the ask to say, hey, this is available for you, this is what I hope you get from it, they're more willing to reciprocate. Sacred law of reciprocity, right? It's a really beautiful thing, and I think about it a lot of times, and here's the unfortunate truth. The clients that pay me the price that they get for my program, which is incredibly affordable, like most of them are great, but I get a lot of people that are kind of pains in my butt because they come in and they don't do any of the work. They don't actually watch the program, do the videos, any of that. It's like, and they may watch some of it, but they don't do any of the actual work. They don't show up and work on their business. They think they're doing work by watching my videos. That's not doing work, right? But those that show up that are my high-end clients that pay, $3,000 or more, those are the people that really show up and do the work. And they're the easiest for me to work with. They don't ask hardly anything of me. Their expectations are very clear from me. And it's crazy how that works. So when people talk about your prices attracting a certain type of client, that's very true. And it's because of this. It's because of this sacred law of reciprocity, right? So I hope that this makes sense. At 44 years old, I just want you to know that I would have never thought that I'd be here doing what I'm doing today. I would have never thought that I'd be able to talk to you all on like thousands of people on the internet and get these really kind messages saying that it's inspiring them and all that. Like I would have never thought it. When I was starting my career as a drummer, I don't know which side the drums are on, this side. I wanted to be a rock star. Isn't that what we all want at some age? And, I was able to tour for over 10 years, and then getting into helping visual artists was such a weird road for me because that's not my lane first. And I had to have a lot of visual artists remind me that, there are gallery owners that, or people that are very much in the marketing side of art that don't make visual art first, right? And they're like, at least you have a lot of context for what it is to go and work as an artist, as a creative. And many of them told me, like, that's what makes you more valuable than someone like that, because you're not out to try to just sell their work and get 50%. You're trying to teach them to fish. And so I just can't express enough gratitude for the fact that you all allow me to do this, whether you're in my program or not, that you're just here taking in stuff. I just appreciate you so much. So if you are interested in building your business on a deeper level, I do have a whole series of videos that'll talk about that. So you can watch that playlist right here, and I'll see you over in those videos.